The Right Honorable Raila Odinga, Minister Present, PS, Chair of Council and Vice Chancellor, my good friend Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, Governor of Kisumu County, where this Uzima University is, the Chair of the Commission on University Education and staff. Ladies and gentlemen, we are gathered here today to mark yet another significant milestone, not only for Uzima University, but also in our relentless pursuit of equitable, high-quality, accessible, and transformative higher education in Kenya. Uzima University now becomes the 30th accredited private university in Kenya, an achievement that underscores your commitment as Uzima University to academic excellence, institutional integrity, and service to society. I commend the leadership, faculty, staff, students, and partners whose collective effort have brought us to this very significant day. I recognize the journey the institution has taken to reach this moment. In March 2020, you received interim authority from the Commission for University Education, transitioning from a constituent college of Catholic University of Eastern Africa to an independent institution. This achievement reflects the university's commitment to academic excellence and institutional growth. I am particularly pleased to note that Uzima's medical school, with the support of the Commission for University Education and the Kenya Medical Practitioners, Pharmacists and Destinies Council, is now accredited at the East African community level. Congratulations, Uzima University, on these achievements. As we celebrate this important day, we must pay special tribute to the visionary founder and first chancellor of Uzima University, the Archbishop Emeritus Zacchaeus Okoth. It was his deep commitment to improving healthcare and education in Kenya that led him to establish this institution. Through his foresight, Uzima was conceived not just as a center of learning, but as a mission to produce competent, ethical, and compassionate health professionals who serve with a sense of purpose. Your legacy, Bishop, will forever be etched in the lives of the many students, patients, and communities touched by Uzima's work. The award of this charter aligns with our long-term goal of expanding access to quality university education. As a government, we recognize that our aspirations for inclusive development and equitable wealth creation are anchored in a strong education sector, which is essential for developing the required human capital and fostering research and innovation. This is why we pursued bold, creative, and targeted reforms in the education sector, aimed at expanding access, reforming curricula, addressing funding challenges, improving infrastructure, and enhancing the quality of teaching, learning, and research. Over the past 2.5 years, we have implemented a student-centered higher education funding model to ensure that every learner, regardless of their background, gender, or economic status, has a fair opportunity to pursue their academic ambitions. In the current financial year 2024-25, the Higher Education Loans Board received over 700,000 applications from university and TVET learners. By 30th of March 2025, the board had disbursed Kenya shillings 34 billion in tuition and upkeep loans, directly benefiting over 400,000 university students and 227,000 TVET trainees nationwide. The total financial support awarded so far stands at 47 billion Kenya shillings, and I want to assure all learners, parents, and institutions that the Government of Kenya remains fully committed to ensuring complete disbursement of funds within the current financial year. This new funding model has resolved the long-standing challenge of chronic underfunding that had pushed many public universities to the brink of bankruptcy. Today, these institutions are on the path to financial recovery and are expected to clear their debts in the coming years. Uzima University's growth fits perfectly within our national objective to widen access to quality university education. And I'm very happy that Uzima has chosen the path of quality rather than mass education. It speaks to the commitment of Uzima University to produce high-quality graduates, and you have my unqualified support as you pursue that goal. You would have chosen to bring on board all the courses that I see in all the other universities. I know very well that it is difficult, it's much more expensive to train STEM courses, especially in the medical field. But because of your commitment and because of your strategic positioning, you chose the rather difficult, but a path that will eventually speak volumes of what Uzima University stands for. Currently, over 149,000 students are enrolled in private universities, 49% female and 51% male, demonstrating growing gender balance in line with our constitutional values. Encouragingly, nearly half, that is about 70,000 of these students, are enrolled in STEM programs, which are vital to the success of our transformation agenda. Uzima's range of programs, including medicine, clinical medicine, nursing, microbiology, and health systems management, reflect the institution's dedication to health sciences and our national needs. The university has also cultivated strong partnerships locally and internationally, which extends beyond lecture halls and ensures its students benefit from a vibrant ecosystem of research, innovation, and practical training. Your collaboration with Jaramogi Oginga Odinga Teaching and Referral Hospital and 6 county governments, including Kisumu, Vihiga, Siaya, Homa Bay, Bungoma, and Kakamega, has enhanced clinical placements, providing your students with practical, high-quality, and locally relevant training. I must comment that because of in recognition, actually, of the commitment of the founder, Zacchaeus Okoth, Archbishop Emeritus, and because of the demonstrated commitment of Uzima University to training healthcare personnel, and as we pursue universal health coverage, the requirement of highly trained quality personnel is necessary, and therefore the government of Kenya is going to provide a grant of Kenya shillings 100 million to Uzima University to further the training of the much needed health personnel in Kenya. Internationally, I applaud Uzima's collaboration with Kenya Nurse and Remar Nurse, which enables your graduates to sit for National Council licensure examination and other international exams, opening global opportunities in countries such as the US and Australia. I am particularly inspired by the story of Dr. Hezron Omondi Omolo, Uzima's first medical student, who now leads the Division of Professional Standards and Human Resource at the Ministry of Health. His success reflects the kind of legacy this university is building, and one that we are here to celebrate, sustain, and elevate. Congratulations again. I challenge Uzima University to continue living the philosophy behind its name, Uzima meaning fullness of life. Let this institution continue nurturing healthcare professionals who serve with both competence and conscience, especially in undeserved communities. Allow me, before I conclude my remarks, that the path chosen by Uzima University to create a niche and not just to train mass training of different courses, merely in pursuit of courses that many people can afford and pay for, but rather you have chosen the path of medical field, more difficult to train, more expensive to train, but the outcomes have life-changing experience in society. And I think you're answering the question that the Right Honorable Prime Minister said. He asked a question. We have countries that we were at par several years ago at independence. But today, the gap between us and them is huge. And he has asked us, what right decisions did they make that we did not? Among them, I must say, is the kind of decisions that Uzima has made. And I can give you a few more examples. I remember in a meeting here, I informed colleagues that we made a decision to free Kenya Power from the hold of government. We decided to have 4 of the 8 directors that ordinarily were appointed by government to be appointed by the private sector, because we wanted to bring on board private sector expertise and knowledge and information. And the difference it has made in Kenya Power is immense. I remember last year, Kenya Power came from a loss-making parastatal to a profit-making organization of 30 billion Kenya shillings. And it was just a simple decision that we said we do not want government to control the board of Kenya Power. Let me also give you another example. We have been in conversation as a country for years, and we've been asking ourselves, what did, added on to Korea, what did Singapore do differently from what we have done in Kenya? They decided to run a housing program as part of creating jobs and as part of elevating society. Singapore, which 60 years ago was largely, if you look at the pictures, looked like Kibra. It was a slum. Today, 95% of their population are homeowners. And they are a first world country. We are still not yet a second world country. And therefore, we've been pursuing as a nation that housing is a major program. It was in the manifesto of all the coalitions. It was in the manifesto of Jubilee. It was in the manifesto of the coalition before NASA. It was in the manifesto of Kenya Kwanza. It was in the manifesto of Azimio. But when it came to implementation, we were not ready to make the difficult choice that we all knew was going to change our country. It took us a lot of political capital. I want to thank the former Prime Minister for standing steady and saying this was a program that was in all manifestos. Today, we see the transformation that is going on in Kenya because of our housing fund facilitation. Housing is developing everywhere in Kenya. Markets are developing everywhere in Kenya. In fact, we have 150,000 houses being built. We have 260 markets being built. We have 130,000 accommodation places of hostels in our universities. And next week, by God's grace, we will be handing over the first cohort of keys to people who have been living in squalor in Mukuru, now occupying houses on the 10th, 11th floor, 9th floor. That is the kind of decisions that we must make as a country, which were made by those other countries, and that is why they are where they are and we are where we are. So I think the former Prime Minister is challenging us to think deeply. Korea made the decisions that changed their destiny. Singapore made the decisions that changed their destiny. If we are to change our destiny, we have to make decisions that will change the course and destiny of our nation. They may not be popular, they may not be simple, but these are the right decisions. It is up to us either to make politically correct, simple, convenient decisions, or make the right decisions that will change the destiny of our country. And this will make the difference. And we need to consistently answer the question the Right Honorable Raila is asking us as a nation, that which are these decisions that others made that made them take their countries to where they are, and what is it that we didn't gather the courage to make those decisions to change the course of our nation. Finally, because we are talking matters education, we've had also to make a decision on the funding model. We've been trying as a nation to make a decision that would help our universities not to crumple under huge debts. Again, we've had to make those decisions, and today we can see, I was with the Right Honorable in Cooperative University last week, and the Vice Chancellor was telling us that the new funding model has made it possible for them to make sure that they pay their staff, their lecturers, their taxes, and their suppliers. It was in broad daylight that the Vice Chancellor of that university was saying that. But again, it's been a difficult decision. You know, we've been to court back and forth in many areas. But again, these are the kind of decisions that together, working as a nation, we need to make for us to take the country forward. Finally, let me also say this, that we decided as a country that we need, instead of pushing subsidies around consumption, we need to instead push production, support production. And as a result, because today the signs are all out, we have better production of tea, we have better production of coffee, we have better production of maize, and significantly, because of access to fertilizer, we have actually better production of sugar. For the first time in a long while, we moved our production of sugarcane from 494,000 metric tons. These are the statistics with Kenya Sugar Board. 494,000 metric tons, which has been almost a stagnant figure around there. We now moved it to, last year, we've moved it to 815,000 metric tons. A significant jump. And now we have 4 new factories that have been licensed. It is my estimation that in the next 2 to 3 years, Kenya will be a net exporter of sugar if we get our sugar sector right. And it will take our collective effort to make it happen. Allow me, ladies and gentlemen, to say to the leadership and faculty, staff, and students and partners of Uzima University, congratulations. May you continue to serve with courage, compassion, and curiosity, and shine as a beacon of excellence in health science, not just in Kenya, but in Africa and beyond. Congratulations again, my very best wishes. And I would have really wanted to preside over this ceremony in the campus. But because I got a request that Archbishop Emeritus wanted it to be done soon, and I was planning to be in your part of the world towards the end of this month, but I know I will find another occasion to come to the campus. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
May I request that we all be upstanding as we will now wind up with the national anthem. When we're ready, the national